Hi, my name is Sandy Selman, and I am Managing Director of Asia West, which is the fund manager for the TMC Emerging Technology Fund. And we're here today to talk to you about our latest investment in Home Lending Pal. First, a few words about the fund. The TMC Emerging Technology Fund is an early stage venture capital fund whose limited partners consist solely of lender members of the Mortgage Collaborative. Our unique value proposition in the venture capital ecosystem is that our limited partners are the consumers of the technology in which we seek to invest. And thus we are a value-added strategic investor, unlike a lot of other venture funds. And so we are very, very excited to have this session with Brian Young, who's co-founder and CEO of Home Lending Pal. We were very excited when we heard about Home Lending Pal for the first time because in reviewing their business plan and their pitch deck, what was particularly interesting to me was that this company addresses 5 out of the top 10 pain points that TMC's lender members had self-identified in a recent survey that they had conducted. And so from a standpoint of a fit for our fund and for our industry, this was a very, very high conformance to the sorts of things that we're looking for. And then icing on the cake, once we met Brian and his team, we were extremely impressed with their clarity of vision, their experience, and just the sheer amount of research they had done into the plan, and the fact that they had been executing very well according to plan up to that point. They had notably wanted to point out that they had gone through Flagstar Bank's accelerator program, and Flagstar was so interested and impressed with this team and the plan that they decided to continue on to work with the company to help bring them to the stage that they're at today. So, and I guess as a final point, the interest level among our limited partners was so high that we had virtually every one of our limited partners participate in this investment. So with that as a quick backdrop, I'd like to introduce Brian to talk a little bit about his perspective on how we're doing in this collaboration that we've kicked off with Home Lending Pal.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you, Sandy. As mentioned, I'm Brian Young, the CEO and co-founder of Home Lending Pal. And when I met Sandy and Jonathan, it was really exciting to see their take not only on the business aspect of the company, but then also the social impact that we were driving for. I think that, when we look at today's society, equality is definitely a big touch point for a lot of people. And in our meetings, in our conversations, it wasn't just about business. I do want, as any startup, I want to be a next fintech unicorn. I want to get to 100 million in annual revenue, but I also want to help 1 million people get into homes. And in our conversations initially, I realized that you have to have people that not only know the problem, but they know the back end of the problem as well. And they're willing to identify that that there is an issue there, but they're also willing to help you address, here's how to create a solution. And I think, as Sandy and I got to know each other through the due diligence process, I really realized that, these guys are looking at this more from just how much money will this make me back, compared to, how can this help create systemic change within an industry that definitely needs it at this point. So that's really what attracted us to them, and why we're excited to work with TMC to really bring this product to full capability within market.
Yeah, I think that one of the things I wanted to emphasize is that amongst those top 10 issues, one of the thorniest ones that this industry is dealing with is fair lending practices. And Home Lending Pal, with their very, I'd have to say, elegant use of blockchain technology, has come up with a really sophisticated way to knock that problem on the head. As part of our engagement with Home Lending Pal, we are providing ongoing advice to them in the form of serving on their board. And that's where Jonathan Freed comes into play here. So Jonathan I want to turn it over to you. Jonathan is one of our limited partners. He runs Holland Mortgage and is sort of the sponsoring limited partner, I would say, for this particular investment. So Jonathan, you want to say a few words?
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Yeah. So one of my biggest I guess reasons for participating in the fund and actually, being on the tech council and making these decisions is exactly what Brian, comes to the table with. And we have a fairly significant problem don't know exactly what the root cause is. If it's, if it's just a systemic issue, it's one that the government's taken, our regulatory bodies have taken, a big interest in. They're increasing the amount of data they collect on race and ethnicity and how transactions are handled. And they wouldn't have done that if they didn't take it very seriously. So we have, whether our policies are overtly causing the issue, or whether it's something else, we are held accountable for fair lending. And so this is a very important issue for all of us. And to Sandy's point, what we loved about Brian, actually, not even we were all very impressed with Home Lending Pal and Brian and his team. Was the unique way of trying to resolve the problem. One that none of us have thought before, that are industry insiders. And so we have to embrace this. We have to do our best to try and fix this issue. Not just because the government says we should, but because homeownership yields, higher net worth, larger middle class, better in the economy, right? So these are all very important issues for us as Americans. And so it's in time, that we need to put some money and some thought and get us moving in the right direction.
Thank you, Jonathan.
So, we really did a lot of deeper dive on Home Lending Pal's initiatives, but we didn't really talk about too much about what the business objectives are. So Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit more about, Home Lending Pal and what you're hoping to achieve?
Yeah. We definitely I definitely want to become one of the first African-American led fintech unicorns. But we're also looking to help 1 million people, especially minorities, get into homes. Typically, these markets aren't served as well. And I think from their perspective, being a minority, it's a little bit intimidating trying to go through the home ownership process and the home buying process. So our goal is that by, encouraging them to know that, we are de-identifying or making it where your information can be collected, validated, and then shared with the lender without showing who you are, will hopefully encourage more African Americans, more Latinos to join this process and pursue home ownership much more aggressively over the next 5 to 10 years is the goal for us.
I like the unicorn, I like that part, and the home ownership. And it serves a dual purpose. So we're behind you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
100%. So we are looking forward to some great things coming out of Home Lending Pal. You can read more about our investment through our official press release. You can also learn more about the TMC Emerging Technology Fund by going to the Mortgage Collaborative's homepage and click the link in the top right corner about the fund. And if you'd like to get involved or learn more, feel free to reach out to any of us, any of the TMC team members. And thank you for listening in today.